Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a collection of your curated sources, articles, research notes that really tackle what many are calling the paramount moral challenge of our century.
Hmm.
That's the global oppression, the marginalization of women and girls. As I went through this material, one statistic just immediately jumped out at me.
Okay.
More girls are killed in routine gendercide in any single decade than people were slaughtered in all the genocides of the 20th century.
Wow. It's stark.
It really is. And then there's this. One woman dies in childbirth every single minute. Every minute. And nearly all of them in poor countries. These numbers, they just underscore this urgent reality we need to face.
They really do. And what these sources powerfully illustrate, I think, is not just a profound injustice, though it certainly is that. It's also this immense, often overlooked opportunity.
Opportunity, how so?
Well, it's not solely about charity, or compassion. It's really about understanding how empowering women fundamentally transforms, well, everything. Societies, economies, even global security. The implications are just huge.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to distill the most vital insights from all this material you've gathered. We'll explore the devastating realities faced by millions, literal slavery, systemic neglect, and critically, what tangible steps you, the listener, can actually take to make a difference.
Right. Practical steps.
Exactly. So by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a condensed, hopefully impactful overview of these challenges, but also the surprising effectiveness of some grassroots solutions. It's a powerful lens, really, for this crucial global issue.
Okay, let's get into it.
Right. Let's begin with a really harrowing reality that your sources shine a light on, this shadow of modern slavery and systemic violence. We're talking about the horrifying truth of sex slavery.
Which is often, kind of sanitizes trafficking.
Exactly. It's often mislabeled. Consider the story of Shrey Rath, a Cambodian teenager, just heart-wrenching. Forced into a brothel, kept naked 15 hours a day, forbidden condoms, and battered until she could basically fake joy for customers. She bravely escaped, but what's truly remarkable is her decision to go back.
You went back.
Yeah, risking everything to rescue her friends. Incredible courage.
That story, it really brings a vital point into sharp focus. The sources emphasize that for millions, the right term isn't sex trafficking, it is slavery.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
The International Labor Organization estimates 12.3 million people in forced labor globally. That's more than the entire population of Belgium.
Good grief.
And maybe up to 10 million children forced into prostitution every year. Which really forces you to ask, why does such a huge, staggering problem so often go, well, unnoticed?
Yeah, it does seem like a massive journalistic blind spot. A prominent dissident's arrest in China, front page news.
Right.
But 100,000 girls routinely trafficked into brothels, not even considered newsworthy. It's these, everyday cruelties that just slip past.
And it's reflected in the funding, too, isn't it?
Right.
Less than 1% of U.S. foreign aid specifically targeted to women and girls. It's tiny.
Really tiny.
And historically, the traditional approaches to fighting this, well, they often failed. But the evidence now seems to point towards a strategic shift.
Okay, what kind of shift?
Combining crackdowns, real law enforcement, with robust social services. The idea is to hit the brothel owners' profits, hold corrupt police accountable, but basically disrupt the whole economic model that fuels this misery.
Makes sense. Attack the system.
It's a move towards systemic change, yeah.
But even when crackdowns work, the journey is, well, it's far from over. Take Shrey Rath, another story from the sources.
Okay.
Rescued from a brothel, but then faced just immense challenges. Stigma, lack of support. Her attempt to open a little grocery store collapsed because her family basically looted it for a feast.
Oh, no.
She almost fell back into trafficking, and tragically, she ultimately contracted HIV. Her story just powerfully underscores this chilling truth. Rescue. That's actually the easy part.
Wow. The easy part. That says a lot.
It really does. And beyond sex slavery, this gender-based violence takes other just chilling forms. Your sources detail acid attacks.
Increasingly common South and Southeast Asia against women who spurn men. The acid melts skin, bone, often blinds them. It's just barbaric, almost like a technologically advanced misogyny.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
And a critical insight from these sources is how violence, it's not just the physical harm, right? It acts as this calculated tool for disempowerment.
What do you mean?
Well, look at Kenya. Female political candidates facing threats of rape.
Yeah.
This isn't random violence. It's a specific tactic to humiliate, to discredit them because they're women.
So it's strategic.
Absolutely strategic. Forcing them to carry knives, wear multiple layers of tights for protection, it just shows how deeply violence is tangled up in the struggle for power, for voice.
Or look at Wanishet's story from Ethiopia. Kidnapped, raped by a man named Abaru. Then the village elders pressured her to marry him, following tradition.
Unbelievable.
Police complicit. But Wanishet, with just incredible resolve, refused. She wouldn't accept that fate. Eventually, it led to the rapist's arrest, though he wasn't jailed for long. Still, her courage. Incredible strength. And then there's the grim reality of so-called honor killings.
Yeah.
The tragic case of Du Aswat in Iraq really stands out, stoned to death by a mob of over 1,000 men for staying out overnight with a boy.
While security forces just watched.
Watched and did nothing. The UN Population Fund estimates 5,000 honor killings a year, mostly in the Muslim world, but your sources suggest that's probably too low. Likely far more than 6,000, often disguised as accidents or suicides.
Which just begs the question, doesn't it? How do these deeply ingrained cultural norms, often falsely blamed on religion, perpetuate these atrocities, even when law enforcement is right there?
Exactly. It's a profound question about culture, power, and impunity.
And it's important to challenge assumptions here. The sources point out that violence against women isn't always male on female.
That's a crucial nuance.
In Sierra Leone's civil war, for instance, women fighters actually participated in gang rapes, sometimes luring victims for the male fighters.
Right. And female infanticide. Mothers sometimes killing their own daughters in Pakistan and China, often under pressure from husbands or cultural norms, or this idea that daughters are just unlucky.
It shows how pervasive and, well, multifaceted this violence really is. It's not simple.
Not simple at all.
Okay, let's shift focus now to another crisis, one that's often overlooked. Maternal mortality.
A huge hidden toll.
Absolutely. Get this. In 2005, 536,000 women died in pregnancy or childbirth globally.
500,000.
That's one maternal death every single minute.
Mm-hmm.
And 99% of these deaths, they happen in poor countries. And what's really alarming is the gap between rich and poor countries is actually getting wider.
It's staggering. And if you look at the maternal mortality ratio, the MMR, that's deaths per 100,000 live births.
Yeah.
In Ireland, it's just 1, super safe. The U.S. is 11. But sub-Saharan Africa, the average is 900.
900 compared to 1.
Yeah. And Sierra Leone hits 2,100, an astounding number. It just makes you wonder, why is such a massive preventable loss of life so persistently neglected on the international stage?
It's baffling, and the lifetime risk figures are even more stark. A girl in Niger faces a 1 in 7 chance of dying in childbirth over her lifetime.
1 in 7.
Compare that to Ireland, 1 in 47,600. That disparity, it's not just a number, it's a profound systemic failure. The sources really drive home the human cost.
Absolutely. And for every woman who dies.
Right. For every woman who dies, at least 10 more suffer significant injuries, the most common being obstetric fistula.
A devastating injury.
The stories are just gut-wrenching. Let's talk about Mahabuba in Ethiopia. At 14, obstructed labor. Her baby died. She was left incontinent, nerve damage, couldn't walk.
At 14.
Ostracized by her village. Even her own relatives were afraid to help someone they saw as cursed. She was abandoned at the edge of the village, the door taken off her hut, basically left for hyenas.
Oh my gosh.
She survived by fighting them off all night with a stick. Then she crawled, desperately crawled, to find help. Eventually reached a missionary and the Addis Ababa Fistula Hospital.
That level of suffering and abandonment. But what truly stands out about fistulas, what the sources highlight,
is that they're fixable.
Exactly. 90% repairable for about $300. Yet the vast majority suffering are impoverished peasants, often abandoned, left to die.
Just because they're poor and female.
Pretty much. As one British nurse midwife put it so poignantly, the reason these women are pariahs is because they are women. If this happened to men, we would have foundations and supplies coming in from all over the world.
Wow. That says it all, doesn't it?
It's a stark reflection of priorities, the devaluation of women's lives.
And it's not just fistulas causing preventable deaths. There's Prudence in Cameroon, 24 years old, mother of 3, died after a ruptured uterus.
Why? What happened?
Her family couldn't afford the $80 fee for a C-section, and the doctor inexplicably just went home, said it was God's will.
Went home. That's beyond negligence. It's abandonment.
It's infuriating.
And broadening this out, Prudence's death, it really highlights these systemic failures, right? Doctor absenteeism, lack of basic supplies, and fundamentally this persistent societal disregard for women's lives.
There seems to be a connection to political power, too.
Definitely. The sources note that it was only when women gained the right to vote in the U.S., back in the early 20th century, that maternal mortality rates finally started to plunge significantly.
So political voice made a difference.
It suggests that political voice actually makes women's lives a higher priority. It shows how powerful a comprehensive approach can be, linking rights directly to health outcomes.
Okay, so we've looked at some really grave challenges. But your sources also point towards powerful levers for change, which is encouraging.
Yes, absolutely. There are solutions.
Education in particular seems to emerge as this incredible equalizer. What did you find particularly compelling about its role?
Oh, it's transformative. Take Angeline from Zimbabwe. Mocked for being poor, going to school barefoot. But despite everything, she became a national academic success.
Oh.
Thanks to Ann Cotton's organization, CAMFED, the Campaign for Female Education. It focuses specifically on girls' schooling.
And what does CAMFED do?
Well, their model isn't just scholarships. They also support graduates in starting businesses or getting higher education. It creates this self-sustaining cycle of empowerment.
That's smart.
And get this, their alumni often become philanthropists themselves, supporting an average of 5 other girls each. It multiplies the impact. Plus, studies from Indonesia, Nigeria, they confirm, educating girls leads to delayed marriage, fewer children. Big long-term impacts.
And it's not always about traditional schooling, is it? Your sources mention other creative strategies.
Right, like school feeding programs in Eritrea. Just providing a meal significantly boosts attendance and learning, especially for girls.
Simple but effective.
Or in Kenya, small scholarships for top-performing 6th grade girls just to help them continue to 7th and 8th grade. That actually dramatically improved test scores for everyone, even the boys, who were pushed to keep up.
Huh. Interesting side effect.
And here's a really striking finding from the sources, something I found fascinating.
Okay.
In rural India, just introducing cable television, TV, it was found to be equivalent to roughly 5 years of female education in terms of increasing women's autonomy.
5 years, just from TV.
Yeah. It reduced the preference for sons, decreased rates of wife beating. Basically, it brought new ideas, different possibilities into isolated villages. Shows that innovation in just delivering information can be incredibly powerful.
Wow. Okay, moving on to economic empowerment. Let's talk about Saima from Pakistan.
A great example.
Her life was transformed by, what, a $65 microloan from the Cash Foundation.
Tiny amount, huge impact.
It allowed her to start an embroidery business. And through that income, she gained respect in her household. It even stopped the abuse she was suffering, an incredible ripple effect from such a small investment.
Exactly. And Cash, founded by Roshana Zafar, it mostly lends to women in groups. They guarantee each other's debts.
So there's a community aspect.
A vital community aspect. These loan meetings become these crucial women's spaces. They talk about everything: family planning, legal rights, business ideas. It shows how market-based solutions can really empower women, improve family living standards, sometimes even lift them out of poverty.
It builds financial and social capital.
Precisely.
And for you, the listener, Kiva.org is a really simple way to get involved directly. You can lend as little as $25 to support women entrepreneurs around the globe. Connect directly with people like Saima.
It makes it very personal, very tangible.
Definitely. Now, the impact of women in leadership and advocacy, that also comes through strongly in the sources.
Yes, hugely important.
There's the extraordinary story of Usha in India. She led this countercharge against a brutal mobster, Akku Yadav, who was terrorizing her slum.
Using rape and violence as tools of control.
Right. But Usha, who actually had a hotel management degree, transformed herself into this fearless community organizer. Despite huge personal risks,
What did she do?
she organized the women, led them to the courthouse where Yadav was appearing. And when he attacked them there, she personally oversaw, well, his beating and death by the mob of women. A dramatic assertion of power.
That story, it really illustrates this fierce determination that can emerge when women are pushed right to the brink. Which makes you ask, how does female leadership translate into tangible change more broadly?
Good question. What do the sources say?
Well, look at Rwanda. Post-genocide, President Paul Kagame very consciously pushed for women in government.
And the result.
Rwanda now has the world's highest percentage of female parliamentarians, and it's become one of Africa's fastest-growing, least corrupt nations. There seems to be a direct link there between political will, women's leadership, and positive societal transformation.
And it's not just at the national level.
No, absolutely not. In India, remember how they reserved 1/3 of village chief positions for women? Well, that led to concrete improvements. More water pumps, better public services, less bribery reported. And over time, it actually helped break down the bias against female leaders because people saw they were effective.
Seeing is believing.
Exactly. And reinforcing this idea of long-term community-led change, look at Molly Melching's organization, Tostan in Senegal.
What have they achieved?
They've effectively ended female genital cutting FGC in over 2,600 villages.
Wow, how? FGC is so deeply entrenched.
Their success comes from working with communities, not imposing laws from outside, but facilitating dialogue, respecting local norms, helping communities collectively decide to abandon the practice. It's a powerful model of grassroots transformation, respectful and effective.
That sounds incredibly important. Okay, finally, let's touch on bridging what some call the God Gulf, building alliances.
Yeah, this was a surprising element in the sources.
This development where secular liberals and religious conservatives, groups often at odds, are actually finding common ground.
Right. Joining forces on issues like AIDS, sex trafficking, it kind of echoes the 19th century abolitionist movement, where diverse groups united against slavery.
And we're seeing growing humanitarian efforts from, say, evangelicals on issues like obstetric fistulas or AIDS things maybe historically they might have ignored due to theological differences.
Yes, and what's really compelling here is seeing how effective these broad coalitions can be. Your sources show that a comprehensive approach to global women's issues, including sensitive topics like family planning, HIV prevention, works best when diverse groups find that common ground, those shared values.
Moving past ideology for practical results.
Exactly. Focusing on the human need, not the political or religious labels.
So after diving into all this, what does it all mean for you, the listener? The central truth that seems woven through all your sources is pretty clear.
Which is?
Women aren't the problem. They are the solution. The plight of girls and women isn't just a tragedy. It is that, profoundly, but it's also this immense, untapped opportunity for global progress.
Well said. Progress in economic development, health, education, even national security.
It touches everything.
It really does. And while the problems are, let's face it, vast and complex, these deep dives into personal stories, into proven initiatives, they really demonstrate something crucial.
That change is possible.
That even when a social issue seems completely insurmountable, mitigation is always possible and deeply impactful. These successes, one life, one village, one community at a time, they show us we should never give up on the idea that positive change is achievable.
Yeah. Hope is crucial. So for you, the listener, this isn't just some distant global issue you read about. Your actions, however small they seem, can make a real difference.
Absolutely.
We saw how a retired French teacher, Jane Roberts, rallied millions to support the UNFPA, whether it's supporting organizations we've mentioned, the Afghan Institute of Learning, CampFed, Kiva.org, Tostan, Women for Women International, they're all in your materials. Or simply asking your own political representatives about global women's issues. Every step matters. Consider volunteering your time. Even high school students started Girls Learn International from their classroom.
Every action counts.
It really does. So let's leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Okay.
Think about this. If fully utilizing, quote, half the talent in a country is maybe the best clue to that nation's growth and development, and if women's political participation has directly led to actual life-saving benefits for children, what profound opportunities are we still missing globally and right here at home by not fully unleashing the power of women?